Hello everyone, I'm here with a large flip-through video today, and normally when I do my videos I have my iPad mounted to my craft desk, but when I'm showing a full 12 by 12 album where you need to see both pages, it's really hard to get the camera in the right position, so I'm just going to hold it today and hope that that works. So you may notice a little bit of camera shake while we're doing this, but just try to bear with me. So I sent my husband on a trip to Ireland with a friend of his. They've known each other since high school, and I had been before, so I knew a lot of what they were going to see on their tour, but not all of it. And so I pre-bought some stuff, and then I put everything together, and he actually did his own journaling. So what you're seeing right here on this opening page, Irish Adventure was the name of the tour, and then he did all his journaling here about when they were gone, what they did, and where they were every day. So you will see his journaling in here quite a bit. So let's take a look. So this is when they were getting ready to leave the country. They flew from Minneapolis to Charlotte and then Charlotte to Dublin. So here they are on the plane. Hi guys. So you'll see I have a mix of kind of one-pagers and two-pagers depending on how many photos he had and the kinds of things that he brought back. So this is all Dublin. They call this the Tube in the Cube. It's their convention center. This is the Samuel Beckett Bridge. This was their hotel, their first night. I actually made this layout at, I think it was a Scrapbook Expo convention, maybe 2 or 3 years ago. Didn't know what the heck I was going to do with it, but held on to it, and now here it is. It went to use. So when they landed, it was quite early in the morning, and they weren't meeting their tour until like 2 or 3 in the afternoon. So they decided, hey, what do we want to do? We want to drink some whiskey. So they went to the Jameson distillery. So this is at like 10:30 in the morning, I think. But gotta do it. So, oops, I should show that. So he actually did his journaling there. So proud. So, and then what do you do after you have whiskey? You go bar hopping, right? You go see some pubs. So they went around town and took a look at some different pubs. These are in the Temple Bar area. And then he just loved all these different statues they had around Dublin. So this is Oscar Wilde over here. And I don't know, he didn't write this down. I don't know what the name of that one is. I probably should research it more. And then just a funny little like troll statue here. And I had to laugh at him because I meant this for journaling. And when I said, hey, you didn't put anything in there, he's like, oh, well, it was such a fun card. I just thought it was supposed to be there. So I let him leave it. All right, this is the long room, they call it, at Trinity College. So it's very hard to get this all in one shot. And he had just taken some pictures of the different busts. You can kind of see here they totally line the entire passage of the library there. And then this is outside on the Trinity campus. This is kind of in their quad area. This is the campanile here. I have a picture of myself in front of that too in my album, so it was so fun to see that he went there. St. Patrick's. I went there as well, but my picture was not as good. He got a much better picture than I did, so yay. Had to showcase it. That's a 5x7. And then just like me, he loved the doors of Dublin. Took a bunch of pictures of those, so I wanted to feature that as well. And then this was kind of their first stop when they left Dublin. And he's about 6 feet, 6'1", and he had to sit at this like tiny table with these tiny chairs. And so he wrote about that experience, feeling like he was almost a child or something, or they were child-size items, and here's this big grown man trying to fit in there. All right, wait for the camera to focus a little bit. All right, there we go. So that is Glendalough. This is in County Wicklow. I see I've got some bulge in here. I use the snap load system, so I removed the posts and put these in there, and I kind of just put it together, didn't pay attention to how tight it was. It's probably a little tight in there, so I need to fix that a little bit, but for now it works. More of Glendalough. I tried to use some stuff I had in my stash too, like these stickers. They're pretty old, these flourishes, but I thought they worked well with the layout. More of Glendalough. This was one of his favorite places, he said. It also was one of my favorites when I was there, so I totally get it. And then notice, I'm going to zoom in there, that kind of Celtic knot paper. I had pre-bought that. It was from Club Scrap, and I cannot remember the name of it, but it all has all kinds of Irish designs in it. You'll see them again later, more papers. So if you like that, check their website. Again, it's Club Scrap. Check their website to see if that kit is still available. And this was out more in the cemetery. It is also known as St. Kevin's. So if you don't hear it referred to as Glendalough, they will call it St. Kevin's because it's St. Kevin's Monastery. It is from the 6th century. Not 16th, 6th. Yep, then they went and explored the Immigrant Museum. And then they went on to Waterford. And I just stamped that on there. I thought that was a cute little stamp. Once they were in Waterford, they went to the Viking Triangle, which is pretty close to the heart of town. I also visited this when I was there, but they have added some different things, like this boat here. It wasn't there when I went a couple of years ago, so it was really cool to see that he got some different things. And then this, I have a Celtic die alphabet, and so I used it to write Viking Triangle. Or not write, but spell it out. So that was fun that I got to use those. And then they went on to their next stop here. And so this is just, they really liked their hotel. So that's about their hotel. But I liked this one. They went out to the pub and notice what it says. 7-course Irish meal, 6 pints and a potato. So fitting if you're in Ireland. Gotta go to the pub. So while they were still in Wexford, they went to the Waterford Crystal Museum. And I have to admit, I was a little disappointed in this because I went there as well. And he pretty much saw the exact same things that I saw several years ago. So they haven't changed it a lot. I had more photos of the display area out front, like the shop where you can buy things, whereas he was far more interested in the factory part. So most of his photos focus on that, which is fine. Different is good. Then they went on to Cove, which I didn't go there on my trip, so this was totally new. I knew that it was a stop for the Titanic before it took off, but I had not visited, so it was kind of cool to see some of the town. And then they obviously have some things there that do relate to Titanic. And this is the town of Cove once they were done at that museum. And again, here's more of that Celtic type paper, again from Club Scrap. So if you like that, that's where you can get it. And I was worried about the empty space here, but then in the end decided I was okay with it because I wanted to showcase that lovely paper that's so unique. I haven't seen anything like it. All right, then they went on to Blarney Castle, and clearly they had a good time. Kissing the Blarney Stone. And these are the grounds of Blarney Castle. And I have to say, I also kissed the stone when I was there. And, you know, it's fun to say you did it as a tourist, but there's so much more to Blarney Castle than just that. I highly recommend that you walk around these gardens. One of them is actually called the Poison Garden, and it's all poisonous plants that they still grow there. I don't want to know what they were used for back in the day, but they had them and they're still there. So if you get the chance, definitely walk the grounds if you are visiting Blarney. And then before they left, they had lunch in the little cafe there. So he had Guinness stew, which he said was very good. And then these are things I like to do in my travel albums. I like to do pocket pages. So he was very good and knows to keep all of his stuff. So I basically just make about a 4-inch pocket here. I use red line tape around the outside to make sure it's really going to stick. And then I just drop stuff in. And I think if I remember correctly, there are 3 pocket pages in here because he had so many brochures. And they do tend to move around a little bit in there, but we're not overly concerned with that, so it works. And then this was their next hotel. This is when they got to Killarney. And they took a jaunting car, which is this, what they're being pulled by there. And it goes out to Ross Castle, which I also did when I was there. So that was super fun to see that they did it too. And then I think this is the next day. They were just out exploring and got to see some live goats. And then on the Ring of Kerry, there's this King Puck statue, and so that was fitting that he took that and made it work with the rest of them. And this is the Gap of Dunlow, one of the most naturally beautiful places in all of Ireland, I think. And he agreed. And these are just kind of some more generic things that he saw along the Ring of Kerry. Lots of thatched roof homes. Some castle ruins, of course. If you're in Ireland, you got to have castle ruins. And then here I made an 8x10 collage from different places along the Ring of Kerry. This is in Sneem Tavern, and this is the Blue Bowl. I actually went there too when I was in Sneem, so that was fun to see that. And then he just took some other different photos. His mother's maiden name is Murphy. I see a lot of Murphy's stuff in Ireland, so he took a picture of that. And then this was one of his other favorite things. Now, I didn't get to do this when I was there. The movie hadn't been filmed, of course. But now they have this whole thing called the Skellig Experience, and it's about the islands where Star Wars was filmed. It's a heritage site, so first of all, it's very hard to get there. A limited number of people get to go. The weather has to be good because if the water gets choppy, it's very, very dangerous to take the boat out there. So they did not do the boat. They just did the museum and all of, like, the interpretive stuff in the visitor center. But he was very pleased with it. And really anything to do with Star Wars, he was happy. So there's more of his journaling that he did. Yay! And then I wanted to include a map of the Ring of Kerry. So this is the route that you do when you're there. And then here are the Skellig Islands over here. So he did write a little bit about that as well, what he liked about it. Some more scenic photos so you can kind of see it is actually a ring that kind of goes around too from the water. So not only do you do a ring on land, but this is very crescent shaped. That's just a picture he got from the shore. I think they were driving actually when he took that. I think this is Ladies' View outside of Killarney, if I'm not mistaken. And then he got to take a ferry ride. I didn't get to do that when I was there, so I was a little jealous. Not a little, lot. Jealous that they got to take a ferry as part of their tour. So this is their tour guide here. And this is a family they met while they were on the tour, which is awesome. So here's just another pub that they stopped at to grab some lunch. Oh, the Cliffs of Moher. Okay, so here's the deal with that. I saw it when I was there. We had perfect weather. It was gorgeous. So this is what you would normally see if you went to the Cliffs of Moher on a good day. This is what they actually saw. It was so misty and fogged in that they could not see anything. This is as far as they could see. So they were quite disappointed that they didn't get to see the beautiful Cliffs of Moher. But I said, you know what, we'll cheat a little bit and I'll pull some other photos and you can see what you should have seen. Oops. All right, so then they were on to Galway. Here's some more of that paper. Love it. And so he wrote about what he enjoyed there. There's a university there and lots of younger people and lots of pubs. And so they enjoyed that aspect. And so here they are in a pub. Shocking. And then here's another pocket page, and these have kind of slipped. I may consider using red line tape to hold down the backs of these so they stay in place, but for now, we like it that they're removable. And I also have this little pocket here, and it just has some tickets from a tourist walk that they did in Galway. So those are in that little envelope, which is attached to the pocket. Oops, coming out a little bit. And then they were on to their next hotel. And when they left there, then they went on to Sligo, which I stopped there when I was in Ireland, but we only went to the grave of Yeats, the poet. We really didn't see much of the town, so they actually got to explore a little bit of the town. Then they went on to a sheepdog demonstration, and apparently this guy here, his name is Jack, and his favorite activity in the world is to round up sheep, and he would do it all day long if they let him. So he was very happy in his work. Oh yes, the big soccer match was on when Ireland was in the finals when they were there, and so the farmer had dyed the sheep to match the Irish flag, of course. Then they went on to Derry, which is now they are in Northern Ireland. So they crossed the border from the Republic into Northern Ireland. This has a lot of history here. This is where a lot of the bombings took place between Ireland and Northern Ireland. A lot of those were focused in Derry. So there are murals and things dedicated to the Troubles and then to peacetime. And I also saw this statue when I was there, and I was so glad that he got to see it because it shows a man from Northern Ireland and the Republic of Ireland trying to make peace. And they're about to shake hands. They're not quite there, but almost. And that's very much kind of the situation still in Ireland and Northern Ireland. They want peace, and they're glad they have it right now, but it's tentative in some places still. This is just exploring some of the beautiful buildings that are in Derry. It's a walled city, so you can actually walk up here now. Gorgeous buildings. And then their driver took them up to the top of the hill that's outside of Derry, so you can look down at the city. So they got these really cool shots of looking down on the city. So here they are at their next hotel, being goofy. Having a great dinner. And then this was a couple they met on the tour, and it was their wedding anniversary while they were on vacation, and so they were celebrating that night. It's just a little flare here. And then here they are enjoying some traditional Irish coffee, which I gotta say was one of my favorite things too when I was there. And I put a lot of, this is a shiny piece of washi tape, and I put some bling on there. Gotta have some fun. And then his poor friend, don't speak to me before coffee has been served. Oh, here's another really cool piece of paper from that set from Club Scrap. And then this is Dunluce Castle. These are the ruins of it. Literally part of it at one point fell into the sea. They did give us the history when I was there, so I knew that part of it. So it's fun that he got to see that as well. And then here they are going on to Giant's Causeway, which is on the Antrim coast of Northern Ireland. So that is part of the UK. So you'll notice like there are some different things in terms of signage, and I think there are photos in here, maybe it's a little bit later, where they're in a British phone booth because it is part of the UK. This is more of that paper. I think this is from that same kit. If not, I don't remember where I found that. So again, he was so good. Did his own journaling. Ah, this was their big surprise of the day. The Queen actually came to visit Giant's Causeway while they were there. So they were on lockdown. They were not allowed to leave. They were along the shore, and they were held down there for security purposes, but they were about 20 feet from her. So they got some great photos of both the Queen and Philip. So he was pretty impressed with that. And they got interviewed by the BBC on camera too, and then never found out what happened to it. All right, so there's their next hotel, and there they are. In the British phone booth, even though it's Northern Ireland. And they went on to the Titanic Museum, and he said this was also one of his favorite things. It was one of mine too, but it's a very sad place. It's very somber, very quiet in there when you're walking through. So it's not like, oh, happy fun time, you know, let's go to the museum. It's very serious, but I do recommend it to anybody if you have interest in Titanic history. Northern Ireland takes this very seriously because this is where the ship was built. And the museum is definitely worth what you pay to get in. That's for sure. So just some other photos about when they were building the ship. There's the captain. Its maiden voyage and its only voyage, sadly. And then he said the same thing I said about this. These were the last messages sent between Titanic and the ships that were hopefully coming to their rescue, or so they thought. These are quite heart-wrenching, so I'm not going to zoom in on any of them. But I had these letters and didn't know what I was going to do with them, and I thought the word haste was applicable because they were running at higher speed than they should have been, which is part of what got them into trouble. And then in these messages, you can hear their panic as they're asking for assistance from other ships. And those ships, that were close were trying to hurry to them as fast as they can. So they were making haste to get there, but unfortunately did not make it in time. All right, so then in Northern Ireland, they have some of the Game of Thrones studios and locations. So they were able to go and see that this is where Game of Thrones is filmed. And this is kind of just a catch-all page as they're nearing the end. He gives some info here on what he thought of this trip to Ireland. And then because it was a tour, they took a group photo and he did choose to buy it. So these were all the people that were on his tour that he met and made friends. So he talked a little bit about that. Then they were back in Dublin for their last night. And so they went out again to a few places. So he had some pictures of those. And then this was saying goodbye to their best friends that they made during the trip. So they were hanging out with them on their last evening, getting ready to go, having one last hurrah. And then, it's going to slide out here maybe. The last page is again another pocket page. This is attached by washi, so it actually flips up so you can see the inside of it. And then all the brochures from the last 1/3 of the trip are in here. So that's the full album. I hope you enjoyed seeing how I put it together. And it's always interesting doing an album for somebody else. Since I wasn't there, I had to kind of really wait on his stories and his direction on how to put this all together. And he has said he is very pleased with it, so that makes me happy. So now I'm going to fix the binding here to make sure that it's sturdy and ready to go on the shelf. Otherwise, that is it. Hope you enjoyed it.